Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You're here with your channel host GBHL James, and we are settling down for another week's Speak, Friend and Question. And apologies that it's me on my own again. I know that last time I went on for a long time, so I hope that you guys got lots and lots of painting done, because of course that is what these videos are all about. It's not at all about educating you about Strategy Battle Game, because that's how I get away with running the show sometimes. It's of course about making sure that you can get through that backlog. Now, we had loads of questions last week, so that's why I end up being like an hour 45 episode. But this week, I've got a funny feeling it's going to be shorter. We were a little bit late getting it up last week, and there's been a couple of times lately where that's been happening just because of how life is. We've had a few problems with uploads, and it has been tough getting together with Jamie, but I am pleased to say that now that his teeth and mouth and everything that's gone wrong with him, that we couldn't meet up this week, he's recovered, so we are meeting up on Thursday, which is very exciting. And we've got lots of exciting things to talk about as well, because of course we are about to, or when you get this, you should have the rules pack for Desolation of Stockport 2015. Very, very exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody at this tournament. Obviously I'm not seeing everybody all of the other tournaments nationwide, which are fantastic, by the way. It's only because my wedding's coming up that I can't go. So it's going to be really good catching up with the gang, because I do miss you all, and I'm sure that you guys don't miss me at all. But I do miss you all. So really looking forward to that, and it's a pretty good rules pack. I'm sure we'll do a video together and we'll talk through exactly what you have to expect. So expect that soon. And also got a lot of great content coming up. When Jamie went down to Titans for Fog on Finchley Downs, him, Damien and Tom filmed absolutely loads of the Fellowship Journey Book stuff. So that means that you are pretty much going to be guaranteed a battle report on a Saturday for a very, very, very long time, which is great. Really takes the pressure off us. And I also filmed a Let's Try Tuesday video, which should be being released on Tuesday, which will be looking at a very popular system. So I wonder if you guys can guess what it is. So let's get cracking. Only 28 questions this week, probably because I posted it up a little bit later. But let's see how long we get this. Let's see if we can make this an hour episode or less. Okay, so the first question is from the Lord of the Rings SBG team, and he's put, "What do you think of my Rohan list?" He's put, "I took a similar list before to a tourney, but I amended this list." Okay, so first up, you're automatically a winner in my eyes for taking Rohan. Only the very best people take Rohan. You've got here Aemon and Pelennor. That's good. 4 Sons of Ale and 4 mounted Royal Guard. You then got Erkenbrand mounted with 12 riders, all Westfold Red Shields. And then you've got Grimbold with 12 Royal Guard on foot. He's put his logic, even with, my logic is even with Strength 4, the Guard are better with Defence 6 and Fight 4. But given they are the Horse Lords, I may opt to put Theoden in with more riders, but not make him as my leader. Okay, so it looks like a reasonably balanced force. I would immediately kick Grimbold out. Yeah, 12 Royal Guard on foot might be better, but they're more expensive. They might be better than actually putting, your Helmingus in some ways. But Grimbold himself is a pretty awful captain, really. I would almost certainly say that you should take Eowyn, kitted out with heavy armour and shield, and that should give you a few more points to do some cool stuff with as well. Maybe drop something and try and get a banner in there or something along those lines. But yeah, it looks like a decent versatile force, so let us know how you get on with that, buddy. And for Rohan, that's what it's all about. So next up, we've got Jeremy Smith. And he's put first. I'm guessing it means that he was like one of the first to comment. He's put, "We'll ask question later," and he's put, "Know any good jokes?" Oh my days, I do not know any good jokes. I am not good with jokes. I bet Jamie knows some good jokes. I'm not really a joke teller, really. I'm more of a sort of take the mickey out of myself rather than sort of recite a joke kind of person. So sorry about that, Jeremy Smith. You're going to have to find other ways to be entertained this evening. Next up, we've got Quinn Buermeyer. He's put, "Hey guys, thanks for answering my question last week. An absolute pleasure, buddy." He's put, "My question this week is a bit of a fluffy one, but here it is. Do you believe, as I do, that the Fellowship Frodo Baggins profile should be stronger in the game. The new Hobbit rules for the ring make him a bit more competitive, but seeing the new Bilbo profile where he costs 10 less points but gets 1 more might really crushed me. Now, I by no means think Frodo should be a 3 might hero, but he should maybe be given more will, or a banner rule like Frodo of the Nine Fingers, or at the very least should just cost less. I know I'm probably one of a handful of players who would like to see a better profile for Frodo, but seeing as he is my favourite character from the books and movies, I would like to see him a little bit stronger. Do you guys think he's due for an update? Thanks as always, Quinn. Well, it's an interesting point. I mean, so let's have a little bit of a look here. I've got my 3 peoples. So, great news everybody. I have heard a rumour, and it is just a rumour, but that these things are in for reprint. So if you've been buying them on eBay for a lot of money, or you've been putting them on eBay for a lot of money, that will all soon change, apparently. That is just the rumour mill. Okay, so let's have a little bit of a look at Frodo. So we want the Fellowship. Where are they? Fellowship Wood Elves, High Elves, Shire, Fellowship. Okay, Frodo. 60 points. Yeah, I think, well, when you start adding up, sort of putting on Mithril Coat and Sting and the Elven Cloak, it becomes a little bit expensive. So maybe if they were a little bit cheaper. Well, it's not a terrible profile. I mean, it's a Hobbit, isn't it? So I don't think it's one of those that people will call out for. But I do agree. I guess the issue with the profile is that people would never take it, unless they were being really, 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 really fluffy. There's nothing to really sort of justify him being there over other things of similar points values. And I guess that's the point that you're making. So I can kind of see what you mean. I think he's probably further down the list than maybe he is for you. Is your favourite character. But thank you very much for your question. Next up, we got Jason Province. He's put, "Hi guys, thanks for answering my questions last week." Again, absolute pleasure. That's what we're here for. It's called Speak Friend and Question after all. You put, first question is, what would I need to do to AM a Marshal of the Riddermark to properly convert it to AM a Knight of the Pelennor? And then you've got second question, is with my Riders of Rohan. Is it really worth giving them all throwing spears? Okay, so I'll start off with the first part of your question. So the key difference between well, I'm not talking about in necessarily the profile, because obviously there's some big differences there. But one of the key things with Marshal of the Riddermark versus Knight of the Pelennor. Knight of the Pelennor is on an armoured horse, and comes with the shield. Okay, so it's very, very important that if you're going to do that conversion, that you put your AMA Marshal of the Riddermark on an armoured horse. Lots of people put him on one of Theoden's armoured horses, either the one that's static or the one that's prancing, if they're doing that conversion, and all of a sudden you've got the armoured horse. And then you also want to maybe try and find a way of getting a spare AMA Marshal, Knight of the Pelennor shield to maybe put on the side, and that's it. That's all you need to do. And you wouldn't even necessarily need to do that. You could just put on a Rohan shield on the side of him, and all of a sudden, from a war gear perspective, it is Knight of the Pelennor. So I've got a Knight of the Pelennor model, which I'm absolutely dreading painting. I want it to be awesome because it's like my favourite profile. One of my favourite things to use in the game with my Rohan. I've been terrified of painting it to getting it to a good level. I want it to be a good level. So I use my old Marshal of the Riddermark model. Now, I have got a shield on it, but it doesn't have an armoured horse. But people tend to be okay because, it's still Aemma, and it's pretty clear to your opponent if you tell them, right, this is Knight of the Pelennor. I don't think people are going to turn around and go, oh, I thought it was Marshal of the Riddermark partway through. But some people might be funny with it. But it's an easy conversion to do, so give it a go if you can't get hold of Knight of the Pelennor. And thanks for your question, and good luck with your Rohan force. All my Rohanites out there. That's what I like to hear. Okay, so next up we've got Josh Bejont, I think. He's put, hey guys, shame my question got answered earlier in the episode. Anyhow, can I get your opinions on my Amon Hen themed Uruk list? Of course you can. So you've got Lurtz with 12 Uruk-hai scouts with shields. Makes sense. Vrasku with 12 Urukai Scouts with bows. I guess you can do that, yes. And Ugluk with 12 Urukai Scouts, clocking in at just under 500 points. Yeah, looks like a reasonably themed Urukai Scout army. So good effort on that. Whether it would do particularly well or not is a completely different question. But you've got a good amount of numbers. Urukai are quite strong. Yeah, your defence is a bit low there, and you don't have particularly good combat heroes, really. They're relatively soft. You know, who's going to be your leader? Your leader isn't, well, Vrasku will probably be your leader, won't he? Back with the scouts. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then you put also, which single infantry figure would you choose to fight Sauron? My choice would be Aragorn Strider with Anduril. Ooh. Smaug. And guys, I've got some absolutely phenomenal news. Okay, now you cannot tell Jane. She's not here. Okay, but I have bought Smaug. And he sold out again. So he came up and they were flying like hotcakes. And I thought, do you know what? I would regret it if I didn't have a Smaug. And it's worth getting told off, you know, when Jane realises I did buy it. I work hard. And JT, so JT is you might have seen him in some battle reports. He was going to get buff bat rep quite early on, which is my High Elves and Grey Company versus his Easterlings, and he had to do some jumping jacks, which might spoil the result if you've not seen that one. We also went and covered one of his tournaments in very early days. Oh, and one of the first, I think the first battle report that I filmed, where like I was doing it on my iPhone, I was holding my iPhone the wrong way, so it's dead narrow, and we're upstairs in his attic. That's JT. Really nice guy, big supporter of the Hobbit hobby, really trying to build up a community in Huddersfield. Has just run apparently a very good Great British Hobbit League counting tournament, which lots of people enjoyed. Congratulations to Billy Fitzmaurice who won that. Well done, pal. So yeah, it'd be good to hear some of your feedback about that tournament in maybe the next Speak Friend question. That'd be really cool because I wasn't there. It's a bit gutted about. But JT, he runs a store called Awkward Battles, and he has been offering, because a lot of stores haven't been buying in Smaug because it's a big part of their big percentage of their allocation for obviously that single miniature for direct only orders. And what he has been offering is very, very good deals. If you buy Smaug with him, then you get an absolutely phenomenal deal with like bulk buys and everything else. So you're talking like almost, you know, well, I'm not going to say contact him. So if you're looking to get Smaug, what I recommend you do, because unfortunately they sold out quite quickly, but they might do a third batch. If you're interested in getting Smaug, then contact JT of Awkward Battles. You can find him on the Great British Hobbit League Facebook group, and he does have an Orc Ward. It's spelled Orc, O-R-C, hyphen, and then Ward, W-A-R-D, for anybody who doesn't know that. Awkward Battles. And if you go onto his Facebook group, send him a message, and just what I recommend, look through your backlog. What are the miniatures that you're missing? And say, if I buy Smaug from you, what deal will you give me on all of this? And that it's really helped me because I've been able to fill up a huge backlog. It was a big spend, but by doing that, I have saved quite a reasonable amount, even though I spent on Smaug. So yeah, worth doing. So yeah, anyway, I would probably take Smaug against Sauron. I have to say. Okay, so next up, we've got Mabbers 290. And you've got, hey guys, thanks for answering my question. Sorry for the confusion with the wedding planning comment, James. I saw the look on your face. I was referring to my own plans going well. Oh, good stuff, buddy. Well, I have just returned from going and buying the groomsman suit. So I've had a lovely weekend. My brother, he's an ex-Royal Marine. He came up from Oxford, and my granddad has come over from Southport. And they came over last night and we watched Waterloo. It's the kind of movie that Jane won't let me watch with her. We watched Waterloo, we had some drinks. I made them a sweet potato cottage pie that I made myself fresh. We had some drinks, woke up with a bit of a headache this morning, and Jane's dad came down and we've all spent the day in Manchester looking for groomsmen suits, and I have to say they looked pretty dapper. So that was my wedding costume. I've still not got mine though, but I will be going as James Bond. Midnight blue, tux, dinner jacket, that's what I'm talking about. Walter PPK. Yeah, that's where I am with my wedding stuff. But anyway, good to hear that your wedding plans are going well. Hey, but I'm not trying to hitchhike your thunder. I hope plans are progressing swimmingly too, buddy. I believe so. Jane is all over it. She is mega organised, Jane. You know, like, my memory's been shocking lately. I've got no idea why. I think January is a busy time for me. December is as well, in preparation for January for my business. So I think I'm getting to that bit now where I could probably do with a few days off. I'm going to try and arrange that soon. Sorry, excuse me. Anyway, but I did use the list that I mentioned: Armoured Elves, New Thranduil, Galadriel, Rivendell Knights and Captain, and you were right about not being able to benefit from the shooting. Though I can never sit back and pop shots for long without pulling out those huge elven blades, aka the scene from the Two Towers where Aragorn yells, "Ladders!" and for lack of a better word, shing! Out come all the swords. Swing! I love that. But I advanced the elven infantry under Galadriel's protection, some of them archers taking shots at the enemy who were armoured Uruk-hai scouts. The knights became a sort of like historical Saracen cavalry, riding to the flank and firing shots at the pike support, proving to be very effective in doing so too. Yeah, they will be. When the lines met, Thranduil did as you'd expect. Galadriel snapped her fingers and the unnamed raid vanished like English sunny weather. The knights joined the fray, and well, it was easier than I expected. Very good. I don't expect all battles to go so well, as we only lost just under a third of the troops. No knights died, but for some reason his crossbows were firing at my battle lines with Galadriel's 6 to hit protection in place. Yeah, bad choice for my enemy. However, I definitely play this list knowing that it has to charge and get into the melee, unlike a lot of elven lists, but I like the difference. I think it's unusual, and when you're slugging it out with Uruk-hai and winning, you're doing something right. Yeah, I would agree. I also highly recommend the new Elven Glaives. They were the star of the show. Oh, how interesting. My question this week is, what is the most effective use that you've seen of a High Elven infantry list? Also, is it better to take expensive, powerful High Elf heroes with less troops, or to take one powerful hero, one lesser hero, and as many High Elves as possible? Thanks for your time. Jamie, if you're the one reading this, sorry mate. No, he's not. But he will be next week, so I want long questions for Jamie next week. Get thinking. And make sure you say this one's for Jamie. Can Jamie read this out? He'll love that. He'll love it. Okay, so the most effective use I've seen of a High Elven infantry list. So we're not talking about all heroes, because High Elf all heroes is pretty good. Okay, infantry list. The issue is that you don't have much choice. Okay, so if you're going for a High Elf infantry list, there isn't a lot of choice. But what I have seen, I think Dave Alexander's got a reasonable sort of High Elf infantry list. What he'll do is he'll have like a front rank with Elven Blade and Shield. He'll have a rear rank with maybe Spear and Shield. Tends to have a powerful hero like a Glorfindel or a Gil-galad mounted is a good call. Maybe the twins are a good way of getting extra, effectively like an extra hero in for quite cheap. Yes, you are going to be sacrificing on numbers, but what you can do is, so yeah, you've got your front rank with your Elven Blade and your shields, and you've got your rear rank with your spear and hopefully shields as well, and maybe a third bows because you've got Elven bows in there. Or you could just sack that right off and just go for it, although it is good to have the option, because you're not going to have too much speed because it's an infantry force, unless of course you take Rivendell Knights, but that's not what you're talking about here. And what you could do is then have a couple of the spearmen and just a couple of them as whatchamacallums, Kingsguard. So maybe take Gil-galad and upgrade a couple of the spearmen to Kingsguard and use them to tie up enemy heroes, while your heroes, who've got quite a lot of killing power, especially like Gil-galad mounted with his +1 to wound, he's going to be killing most things, and then you can use your heroes to really chop away at their infantry, and then at the same time your heroes are capable of dealing with their heroes when the time comes. So yeah, that's not a bad way of going. David Alexander takes something like that, so I hope that helps. Yeah, I hope that helps a little bit, and thanks very much for your question. Looking forward to your one next week. Okay, so next up we've got Bradley Cobden. He's like, hi guys, I was wondering if using the Alfred model to convert to Bane would look good, and using his profile without the special rule would be fluffy. Well, you could do. I mean, what I would say is that the moment that you're using Alfred, I mean, if you want to use it to, yeah, I guess you could do like a head swap, couldn't you? So you could, J. Clare has done something like this, and it might be like a Hobbit head swap, something like that. Is it? But I think if you're going to do like something like that for theme, and you're not going to use the special rule, like do it like with Fatty Bolger's profile, like 5 points, and then he's in there for theme. He's not going to do anything in the game, which is fine, you know. But then you've got your theme in there. I mean, it is an out-and-out proxy though, so yeah, that's something to think about. Maybe do something like that. But yeah, try Jay Clare on the Great British Hobbit League Facebook. He should be able to help you with that. Thanks very much for your question, pal. Hopefully see you in April at the Stockport tournament. Okay, so next up we've got Ross Diggle. So he's put, sorry James, I would have typed a longer question, but I was on my phone and couldn't be doing with the annoying predictive text. With your comment regarding SBG being about skill, rolling like rubbish like we both did in our game also counts. Yeah, rolling is a big part of it. But I mean, you can have games that can be obviously lost on dice rolling, but it's more about certain key dice rolls in the game, which can have then a massive sort of knock-on effect. But at the same time, the way that I see it is that you're trying to give yourself more chance than your opponent where you possibly can. So you want to be rolling more dice when you can, or having an advantage with the dice that you're rolling, and constantly trying to do that. And I think that's where a lot of the skill comes in. But yeah, bad luck can affect things as well. Ross, you will have seen him in the recent Eastern Kingdoms. Very sorry, by the way, anybody who picks up any rules mistakes, they're going to happen when we're filming. You know, we're not going to pick everything up, so apologies. I hope it doesn't ruin your viewing. Okay, next up we've got Chris Murphy. He's put, cheers for the video, James. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well, buddy. He's put, my question is for you this week. What is your favourite drink? My favourite drink? Do you know what I really like, but I'm not doing it at the moment, is I really like a really cold glass of milk. I really like a cold glass of milk. Especially if cold glass of milk's nice. I love water. I drink water all day long. In terms of drink, like if I was going out, I don't really go out that much. If I wasn't hot on my training, I like these like fruity ciders and stuff like that, but I'd normally be like a lager drinker, to be honest. I love a good cup of tea. And a good coffee as well. If it's nice coffee and nice tea bags, I like a good brew. So yeah, thanks very much for your question, Chris. Hopefully a little bit more insight into the people behind the channel. Okay, next up we've got Akathon39. He's put, me again. He's put, so James, I've heard you say quite a couple of times that in the books Aragorn is described as the greatest warrior of his age. I can't remember if it says that or not, but I'll trust you. But then why would you be willing for Glorfindel to be a higher fight value? Well, Glorfindel is beyond Aragorn's age, as it were. We're talking about sort of a generational thing there. When we're talking about Aragorn being sort of the greatest warrior of his age, first of all, I mean like greatest human warrior of his age, and we're talking about in the third age, in the later stages of the third age. He's a beast, and he's described as such, and you get the hints of that all the way through the book. Like you really do. I mean, there's some really good observations from. I can't remember if they're from Frodo or if they're from Merry and Pippin, maybe. About sort of having this sense of what a great and terrible, warlord and ruler he would have become if the ring had corrupted him, and he'd got hold of it, as it were. So yeah, there's lots of things in there. But Glorfindel should be a higher fight value than Aragorn. So I'd have Glorfindel as fight 8. I'd have Aragorn as fight 7, based on the new Hobbit stat creep, which is very obvious lately. You put, overall I agree with it, and he should be the best. But I was also wondering if Strider is the best of the third. I think Gil Fales is the best in the second age. Who would you say in lore is the greatest warrior of all, Silmarillion included, and what would be their possible stats? Wow, the greatest warrior of all. Well, there's quite a few. So even like Turin, people like that, Beast and Celebrimbor, and there's all kinds of. I mean, Glorfindel defeats Balrogs. There's all sorts, isn't there? There's loads of them. There's loads of these elven heroes who defeat armies of Balrogs and all sorts. I mean, it's crazy stuff. So yeah, I hope that helps. That's a good question. Okay, next up we've got Dominic Harris. He's put, "Hi guys, new to GBHL. Boom. Great to have you here, pal. You put, asked a question a few weeks ago, couldn't find if you had answered. I'm new to this amazing channel. I'm glad that you think it's amazing. That's good. That encourages us to keep going. I was wondering, do you encounter much cheating or deliberate rules bending with your opponents? If you do, how do you deal with it without it turning into an argument? Cheers and keep up the good work." No, I think that our community is relatively well-spirited. You know, you do come across a couple of things. You usually tend to get found out after. It's usually someone who, you know, is maybe taking advantage of the fact that their opponent doesn't know the rules as well as they do. You know, and then kind of they know the rules perfectly well, but can choose to be, you know, like infallible, as it were. And I'm not going to reference any particular people, you know, at all. But it's very, very, very rare. We don't really have a community like that, I wouldn't say. Most people attend Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit tournaments for the right reason, and that is because they love the world of Tolkien. They love Middle Earth, and they love the fact that, you know, they're getting to do things with these wonderfully painted miniatures or these toys that they've had. You know, and they're actually getting to do something social when they're meeting people. Most people are in it for the right reasons. Very, very few people. If I notice somebody doing something, then you tend to try and make light of it. You know, so so a common one, which, you know, I say it's common. This makes it sound bad, like everybody cheats, but they really don't. But, you know, something that you might notice is like measuring. Okay, so when people were measuring, and it should really be sort of front base to front base, but when people are quite liberal with their measuring, and, you know, when it doesn't matter, you might let them get away with it for a little bit. But when it starts getting to the key bits, you kind of sort of make a joke of it. And go, "Oh, pal, I think you're measuring from front to back there by accident," and you try and make a bit of light of it. Or like if someone is sort of deliberately wasting time or anything like that, you try and sort of make, like, I think, was it Owen Wright who said to me, you know, what he says is things like, you know, "Oh, I know it benefits you know, I know it benefits you here for the game to be slowed down, but it'd be really cool if we could get another couple of turns in," you know, stuff like that. So yeah, just little things to try and encourage it along. And then if you're really unhappy, I mean, these are very rare situations. But if you're really unhappy with like how the game's going and everything, then, you know, just call over a TO, and that's the best thing to do, and avoid arguments. Go, "Oh, yeah, but it's just a game," but ultimately, you know, I don't really want to be cheated out of the game. But it's very, very, very rare, very rare. So yes, next up we've got Lewis Jackson. He's put, "In the Mirkwood Elves, who is your favourite model?" Do you mean the old Mirkwood Elves? Well, in the old Mirkwood, I would say that I love Breaking of the Fellowship, Legolas, if that counts, you know, as a Mirkwood thing. Armoured Celeborn's quite a cool little model, I suppose. In terms of the new the Mirkwood Rangers poses are cool. Like, they really are cool. I like the mounted Thranduil of the new stuff. That's very cool. Yeah, very, very cool. What else? Yeah, probably it. Yeah, I like the new Mirkwood Rangers. I've got a box of them downstairs. I'm looking forward to doing them. That'd be cool. Thanks very much for your question, Lewis Jackson. We appreciate it and all of your support. Next up, we got Lego Freshie 25. He's put, "Is this a competitive army?" Thranduil, King of the Woodland Realm, leading 10 Palace Guard. Legolas Greenleaf, leading 10 Rangers. Mirkwood Armoured Captain leading 3 Armoured Bowmen, 6 Swordsmen, and 3 Armoured Elves with Glaives. Okay, is it competitive? Well, okay, so you've got a combaty leader in Thranduil. You've got Palace Guard. Palace Guard are quite expensive for what they are. Okay, but I guess you get the benefit from, you know, with it being with Thranduil. You've got Legolas Greenleaf, so not Legolas Prince of Mirkwood, which means that he's the less combaty version. So he's the shooting one. He's got 10 Rangers. Now Rangers are going to be wanting to be sitting back and shooting, whereas your Palace Guard and your Thranduil are going to be wanting to get in, stuck in. You know, because you don't want them getting picked off, because not particularly, you know, not particularly high defence or anything. And you've got a Mirkwood Armoured Captain. Now, as lovely a model as that is, I would say that there's no point taking the Captain. You should take like a Tariel or something if you're going to do anything. 3 Armoured Bowmen, 6 Swordsmen, and 3 Armoured Elves with Glaives. So I'm not sure what points value you're going for here. What is it? Is it 600 points? I'm not going to work it out. I can't be bothered. I mean, I don't think it'd be. It depends what scenario you're playing. I mean, I know it's a bit of a cop-out answer. It depends what kind of player you are. You might be really, really good, and you might be able to find a way to make this win. I wouldn't be particularly fearful of it. I'd look at it and think it's reasonably soft. Yeah, in lots of ways. It's too much. I think I said this about that guy's Elven list, is that maybe it's got too. It's not got a clear role on the battlefield, really. You know, one part of the army is going to be doing one thing completely separate from the other, and that can isolate you. So yeah, anyway, I hope that helps Lego Freshie 25. Next up, we've got Lonely Cube 1. He's put, I like your username, by the way. You've got, hi, this is my first question, so I guess I've entered the loop. Yes, you have. If Jamie was here, he would explain to you that now you have entered the loop. You must continue to be in the loop, week in, week out. And the fact that we've gone from like 50 odd questions to 28 means that some of you have not kept up with your loop obligations. Now that can have serious repercussions in the space-time continuum, and it could cause the end of the universe. So make sure that you do leave a comment and a question next week. You guys have gotten me excited about painting and playing again. Well, that's great news. That's what we're here for. So thank you very much for that. I've been putting together a 600 point Harad army. I didn't know how scummy they were when I started collecting them, I swear. Yeah, right. No one collects Haradrim for the look of them. That's not true, actually. There is some cool looking stuff. They don't personally get me all excited, but anyway, I've got a basic idea for it, but I think it might need some adjustments, so I hope you could take a look at it. Yeah, that's what we're here for, not a problem. You put the Golden King of Abrakan, and if you want to see what we think about him and a lot of the things in here, then I suggest you go and check out our Fallen Realms week, where we talk about them. I've got 6 Abrakan Merchant Guard, yep. 5 Haradrim Warrior with Spear and a Haradrim Warrior with Boner, so they're to support a choppy front rank. Then you've got a Haradrim King with Horse and War Spear, 6 Haradrim Raiders with Bow and War Spear, and 6 Haradrim Raiders with War Spear. Cool. And then you've got Haradrim Chieftain with Bow, and then 12 Haradrim Warriors with Bow and Spear. So you put here, the Chieftain seems like the biggest issue to me. I feel like I should mount him, make him a king, or both. Would it be worth it to drop the banner or some spears on the archers to do so? Yeah, I think so. I certainly think so, yeah, I think that could be good. I personally, I mean, I rate the Mahud King on a camel more. Suladan is a good choice for the might and the attacks, etc. And because a lot of your force is on foot, you could have a Hasharin leading your 12 Haradrim warriors with bow and spear. Again, one of the issues you've got looking at this list, I mean, it's fine, but there are more competitive things. This I wouldn't look at this and say this is a cheesy Haradrim list. If you wanted to cheese this out, you would max out loads of Watchers Arcana supported by Serpent Guard with Spear, and you've not done that, so it might be okay. You put I mostly want to keep him back with the archers, giving him stand fast and maybe doing straight shot, so I'm not sure it'd be worth it all the points together to upgrade him if it doesn't make him much better at all. Changing him to a mounted king with war spear would cost another 30 points, so I'll probably lose the banner and some spears. Okay. You put note that I don't want to use Serpent Guards, Serpent Riders or Watchers, both for fluff reasons and because I don't have very many of them. I want to keep it as a Scorpion Sting army, so no Corsairs or anything. I would consider making the archers into Warriors of Karna though. Do you think it'd be worth the points? Yep, certainly. 3+ shoot value is. The issue is that, of course, they're not Watchers of Karna. But if you don't want to do that, then Warriors of Karna are a great choice. They're a really good choice. I'm sorry that I'm not that experienced in list making, so it's possible the whole thing's awful. No, I mean, list building's great fun, and don't worry about things being awful or not. Go and try and play with them. That's the key thing, you know. Have fun in Tolkien's universe. That is my big bit of advice. You know, don't worry about it being overly competitive. You know, think about the things that you might need and play the game. See how you get on. You've put, sorry if Jamie had to read this giant question. No, it was me. I've managed to collect at least one of every Haradrim model, so you'll probably get more questions about them from me as I get them all painted up. Thank you again for the great content. Well, it's an absolute pleasure. So yeah, upgrading your bows to Warriors of Karna is a good shout. Maybe swapping your Haradrim Chieftain with bow for a Hasharin, maybe making him your leader. Maybe changing your Haradrim King with Horse and Warspear to maybe Suladan might be a choice, but the King's okay. Yeah, dropping your banner might be a call. So yeah, let us know how you got on with that, buddy. I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, next up we have got Larry Miller. He's put, when you discussed fixing fainting, it made me think of a way to do it. That doesn't surprise me at all, knowing Larry Miller. You put, if I had the authority to change it. Oh, sorry. It made me think of the way I'd do it if I had the authority to change it. Like you said, it should only be by usables with models with a higher fight who have something to risk. Yeah, I say higher or the same as fight value. But also stop things like spear support or multi-combats with one guy fainting risk 3 whilst his friends keep the high fight. I think it should be like shielding, so everyone in the combat must faint or none of them can. I completely agree, and it would be a very easy change. It would fix it. I agree. As people generally don't faint when it means risking losing the fight advantage, I think the advantage should then be boosted to either all failed wounds or 1s and 2s if that's too powerful. One good thing about this is it would give a bonus to having a much higher fight value than your opponent, as it is an elf with his fight 5 is no better off against a fight 2 goblin than a fight 3 man with this fainting. He'd be able to significantly boost his chance of killing his foe with only a 1 in 3 chance of drawing the fight, whilst fainting would be much more risky for the man. What do you guys think of this? P.S. I hope Jamie gets to read this one. No, it's me. Yeah, I think that sounds pretty good. I mean, being able to re-roll all failed to wound is pretty cool, but if you've got to be a higher fight value, or higher or equal fight value, then could be worth it. Be interested to think what you guys think. But good suggestion there, Larry. Very similar to sort of what we think. So yeah, it's good. So next up, we've got the mighty Thor himself. We have got our Dutch pal Jangelut. He's put, oh dearie me, I haven't questioned anything in a good long while. Yeah, you're right. Where have you been? He's put, I've been building a hobby room instead, which you guys are always welcome to for a bit of banter and some Hobbit hobbying. I will probably take you up on that, as will Jamie at some point, I think. I love Holland. I love the Dutch people, and I'm really looking forward to this big Dutch exodus for Stockport in April. So that's one of the really cool things about Desolation of Stockport, is that we're very lucky with having the channel as a vehicle, that we are able to attract new gamers, which is really, really good, but also gamers from across the world. So that's been really cool. Although that's now been happening at other tournaments as well, which is very, very, very cool to see. So the community is growing. You've put, this hobby room has a house attached to it as well. Finally getting truly back into it and loving it with renewed vigour. Thanks for keeping me in the Hobbit loop these past few months. Absolute pleasure, buddy. Anyways, the question, since Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings rages are slowly coming to a halt, do you think there will be an interest in sculptors manufacturers making a 28mm line in line with the movies? And do you think these newer models should be multi-part kits like the Space Marine kits by GW, so hobbyists can pose their own models? PS, we Dutchies can't wait for Stockport in April. PPS, I've grown quite the beard, I can't wait to see it. And PPPS, I'm bringing Mjolnir, which is the hammer of Thor. Fantastic. That's what I like to hear, my friend. Okay, so you mean, do you think there'll be an interest in sculptors manufacturers making 28mm in line with the movies? Do you mean like new people coming over and taking over the license if it goes? Possibly. Possibly. It would be interesting. But I have no idea. I know just as much as you. Okay, next up we've got David Whittaker. What's it or Quavers? Quavers. Quavers all day long. Mind you, I can't remember the last time I had a packet of crisps. So yeah, sorry about that. Okay, next up we've got Lucas Whitcroft White. He's put, hi guys, thanks for answering my question. And my question this week is that I'm probably going to Stockport. That is awesome news. I expect to see all of you there. We want this to be a record-breaking tournament. We want to break our own record that we set at Desolation of Stockport 2.0, which was 50 odd, which was good. So I want over 60 people. That would be really, really good if we get over 60 people. You put, but I can't make it for both days. Am I allowed to come for one day? Yes, you certainly are. This will be my first tournament. I really want to do is play with new people and I have no intention of winning. Thanks guys, and keep doing loads of content. Yep, of course you can. Obviously the thing with that is that on the day that you don't come, that would probably mean that I will be a ringer. Or on the day that you come, depending on whether you make it odd or even. So it just means that I will have to play on one day. You know. So apologies to anybody who has to play me. Okay. Next up, we have got Akathon39 again. He's put, I'm back, but it's been a bit since I commented and I forgot to ask you a couple of SBG rules-based questions. It's not that I want to be stuck in a triple loop, could you imagine? But I would like to get a few things verified. I presume that's the purpose of Speak Friendly Question, so I hope you don't mind. It is the purpose of Speak Friendly Question when Jamie is here. But when I'm here, it is about getting loads of painting done and just having someone talk to you about the hobby and just hearing it out loud, you know, and keeping people in the loop, as it were. Okay, so your questions. Do multi-attack heroes benefit from their extra attack when shooting? E.g., Legolas rolls 2 dice to see if he hits, 2 to see if he wounds, or Aragorn 3. No. No. Your bow can only fire once unless it says otherwise. So Legolas has got a special rule where he can either have like a 1 auto hit, or he can fire up to 3 shots, where he fires 3 shots. But most things can only fire once, so no. And could you please explain the rules for combat involving a defensive position? No. Sorry, pal. I mean, I'm not going to explain the rules for barriers and defensive positions and stuff. I'm just not going to. I could try, I suppose. If you've got a model defending a barrier, okay, then he has a control zone that extends past the barrier, and let's say 2 models come in to attack. They can't just jump. They have to enter his control zone against the barrier. They can't just try and jump over it. They enter the control zone. Now they have a fight, but it's not 1 versus 2. They have to be resolved 1 at a time. That's one of the advantages of the barrier. If the defender wins, then the attacker has to move back 1, and then obviously strikes are resolved against him. If the attacker wins, the defender doesn't have to back away. You make strikes, but with an in the way for the barrier. If you kill, then you complete and you can get over to the other side. So that's basically the rules for attacking over a barrier. There's also the barrier stops being an issue if you can manage to flank the barrier and get someone over and stuff like that as well. So anyway, just read the rules on that. That's the best thing I can say. Go and play games. That helps. Okay, and can the new Thranduil, or even the old one from DOS, give Wood Elves the 2+ aim? No. I'm guessing maybe not, but they are the same place. And would this be allowed in a tournament? Would it be allowed in a friendly? We can do whatever you want in a friendly game. Depends on what your opponent says. But no, you can't. You can't do it in a tournament. The way that I see it, even Thranduil. So we're not talking about the new like combat amazing Fight 7 Thranduil. Even the Thranduil that was in the Desolation of Smaug book, I would say that like what he can do in that and what the Thranduil in the old Free People's book, you either take one or the other. So if you take one with the Wood Elves, then yes, you can do the 2+. If you take one with the new Rangers or anything like that, then he's got, you know, the option for the war gear and all that kind of thing. So no. So yeah, I hope I got that right. Sorry for so many questions this week. I'll ask less next time. Hey, you do not have to apologise. This is Speak Friend Question. You can ask as many questions as you want. Next up, we've got Richard Clammer. He's put ordered Smaug today and I can't wait for him to arrive. I'm exactly the same. I can't wait for mine to arrive. It's very exciting. Thank you, JT. I'm looking forward to it coming. Well done for everybody who bought them. Those 500 sold out in very, very, very quickly. And that meant that we were supporting our Hobbit hobby. So you put a question came to mind, though. The question that came to mind, though, was would you ever consider painting him a different colour and giving him a new base? Personally, I wouldn't. But I can see how that would be very cool for someone who had the money to have two. But in my eyes, I'd want him to look like Smaug from the movies. I've thought about an ice blue with a frosty snow-covered base, which would look pretty cool, especially standing next to that ice barrel conversion I've seen. That's from our sponsor, Shadow and Flame, Dead Marsh Spectre. Yeah, the ice barrel is very cool, very, very cool. The base is phenomenal. Yeah, I think that could look really cool. I personally wouldn't do it. I mean, it's such an expensive. I want it to look like the one from the movie. I mean, it's one of the reasons I'm getting it. Yeah, it'd be cool to film like a battle report with it, but I can't imagine us doing more than one battle report with something like that. You know, it's more for this is something I want in my collection. You know, because I was there. And that's pretty much it. I want to be one of the few people who's got one of these bad boys. So well done everybody who's done that, and yeah, if you want to paint it different, then go you. Good luck with that. I mean, imagine if you got it wrong though. Unbelievable. Okay, next up we've got Dynasty. He's put, if you could make anything SBG, what would it be and why? E.g. Game of Thrones, Halo, etc. Well, this is a frequently asked question actually. Like a really, really frequently asked question. So yeah, well, Game of Thrones, I think this was talked about in the latest Palantir. Like Game of Thrones would be very historical wargaming. I like it because I think you'd have some very cool characters. And you'd have to make characters that gave armies buffs, and I think that would be how that would work as a system. Because Game of Thrones is all about your characters and intrigue and stuff, and you'd have to have characters that gave troops buffs to get enough of a difference, because everyone's just men in armour basically. And I think war gear would be quite an important thing as well. So Game of Thrones would be cool, but one thing that I've always said that I would think would be really cool would be like a skirmish, sort of like a warband sized game that was Elder Scrolls. I love that. That would be really cool, because I think that's a really great world, like Tamriel, and it took me a while at first to get my head around it, but Skyrim is a brilliant game. I love Skyrim. I think it's really good. I'm actually playing it at the moment again, just as a way of chilling out. I've not been doing any painting. I need to get myself a new fine detail brush. So if anybody would like to send me a fine detail brush, I'll happily and gratefully receive one. Anyway, thanks for your question, Dynasty. That's a frequently asked question. So yeah, I think Skyrim would make a good one. Like Zelda, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time with Gorons. I would be the Gorons. That's what I would be. Those Gorons would be cool. I can actually remember a time when oh, my battery's about to die. Bear with me 2 seconds. Don't die before I get everything. Hang on. Hang on. I literally have 60 seconds to get this plugged in, or you guys aren't going to have much of a Speak Friend in question. which would not be cool. Okay, let's plug that in. Oh no, that doesn't. Oh, there it is. There it lives. Okay, please, please, please don't turn off yet. I'm not unplugged. I'm nearly there. Okay, here we go. Is that on? Woo! Just sugar. Sorry, I just hurt my wrist. Ow. Okay, there we go. Battery pack charging and 1 hour 33 minutes of footage remaining. So we're doing okay, aren't we, guys? We're doing all right. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh, that was right. So so when I was younger and I was a bad chav, one of my first businesses was a Pokemon selling business. And me and a friend of mine used to go to Phoenix in Tunbridge Wells and acquire Pokemon cards and sell them in school, and make a lot of money from it because Pokemon cards were sort of a good thing. But I was really into Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That was really, really good, and I designed a Legend of Zelda Pokemon like style deck thing, and like it was my business plan. Of course, that never followed through because I was like 13 years old. But that would have been cool. Like Legend of Zelda, that cards, you know, that kind of thing would be really, really cool. But yeah, I think my answer would be Skyrim for that. Okay, so Al Wood, he's put, thanks James for the ideas about the 500 point Minas Tirith list. The king element goes against the fluff if I use Faramir. Well, it doesn't have to. You can say that it's like a general, not a king and stuff. You know, you can always find a way around it. You put, but a Baragon conversion is a must, so thanks. Yeah, the thing is, what I would say is, you know, I don't think, don't go for a captain. Don't go for a captain. There's so many cheap, good Gondor heroes, so you can bolster up your numbers and stuff. You know, find a way of getting something else in. You put here, oh yeah, but Baragon conversion is must, so thank. Do players use king, riders and warriors as death? If not, why not? As all the figures seem readily available to buy. Cheers, Al. Yeah, well, people do, but they're just not as good as what you might think. So it's very, very hard to create that as a themey army, because you know what you've got to start doing is bringing in Knights of Diamoth and Forlongs and all these kind of things. And if you want it to look like Army of Dead, then you paint them those colour schemes and do it that way. And people, you know, yeah, some people do it, but it's not ideal. You do see them about. There's usually sort of one Army of the Dead thing per tournament, I would say. Like some Army of the Dead. They're not rare, but they're not particularly competitive. I mean, the King of the Dead is not very good. Not very good at all. Okay, next up we have got Master. He's back. He's back. We've got Master. He's put, hi, I got a request more than a question. Could you make a battle report about Dane and Bard's son fighting with Easterlings in War of the Ring? As always, cheers from Poland. No. We're not going to be playing War of the Ring anytime soon. I'm sorry, we're really not. But I mean, we could always do. We could, you know. I suppose Jamie's got dwarves. We could do Dane. I don't know. The thing is, when it comes to battle reports, it's just seeing like who challenges. I mean, and this is a good point. If anybody would like to feature in a Great British Hobbit League battle report, thinks they have an interesting army that would work really, really well on camera, then contact me. I love wargaming@gmail.com and try and arrange to come down. And I'd be more than happy to play. You know, we can discuss points values. 500 points or lower usually makes for the best viewing, depending on what kind of things you bring in, especially if you've got loads of hoardy things. Otherwise, it's just a massively long video. So yeah, if anybody wants to help us out and come and volunteer to be part of a battle report, we're always looking for new contestants, as it were, and new armies to feature. You know, I don't collect dwarves or Easterlings. Jamie doesn't collect Easterlings, so we'll just have to see what we get. And we're certainly not doing War of the Ring anytime soon. But thanks anyway, Chochol Master. Next up we got William Farquharson. He's put, hey guys, hope you've had a good... So this is a descendant of Lord Farquhar. Lord Farquhar the Small. He's put, hope you've had a good week. Do you think that Dunedain or Range of the North are a competitive viable option? What about putting them on horses? Are they fairly costed? Well, expect to see soon. Expect to see soon a army showcase video of me talking all about Grey Company, which was the first army that I have. Do I think Range of the North are a competitive viable option? Yeah, they're free drops. They effectively, by a free drop I mean that it's a very good way of out deploying your opponent on alternative deployments scenarios. They're relatively cheap mites. You know, if the way that I look at it is, if you add 3 of them together, you've effectively got three. You've got 3. All the 3s basically, until one of them dies, of course, and then it goes down. I mean, they suffer, of course, from being fight 4, and they die reasonably easy. 1 fate, 1 wound, but they're okay. And the fact that they can make it so that you can get 100% bows in the Grey Company makes it slightly competitive. Although the thing that the wind works against it is you've got to work out, if that works on a bigger scale, you've got to start dividing up the points that you have to take the Range of the North to get 100% bows, and you've got to sort of spread those points then over in your mind each warband of Rangers of Arnor, and then of course that you're raising how much they're costing effectively, because you have to bring Ranger of the North. So yeah, they are. I definitely would recommend mounting them. They don't have an elven cloak or anything. Mounting them suddenly makes them infinitely better. And in that video I've got some cool mounted conversions which we can show you. So yeah, make sure you keep an eye out for that video. Are they fairly costed? Reasonably so, I would say. I mean, it's a bit. The problem with the issue for me is that Dunedain only being a point less, being exactly the same, but Range of the North having the option to have a horse and is a higher defence. There's no competitive reason why you would ever take Dunedain. You'd only ever take Dunedain for fluff reasons. Yes, some people could say, yeah, but if you take enough of them, then that's going to free you up to have another model. Well, at what point are you ever going to be taking, 25 Dunedain? Do you know what I mean? That would give you that extra one. You take 24, and then you get that other one in there, and you've got one more model. That's never going to happen. So, I think that something needs to be different for the Dunedain to make them worthwhile. And it could be something as simple as, I don't know, woodland creature. If you give Dunedain woodland creature, I think that then that suddenly becomes a bit of a, do you take them, do you not? But then again, Aragorn can give them woodland creature. But then again, when are you going to take Aragorn? Because Aragorn's expensive. When are you going to take Aragorn's Isildur heir with them? And it'd be a, you're talking about big points cost then. So it's interesting. Anyway, saw the pictures of the GBHL dice. They look awesome. How can we get our hands on them? And does it say Bosch on instead of a 1? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But that is in the pipeline, I assure you. So keep an eye out for those ones as well. I have no idea. They have arrived, and we're probably going to be selling them in April at the Desolation of Stockport. So I suggest that you come down and come to that tournament and make it a priority so you can get some dice. Next up, we have got Thalianor. He's like, hey guys, couldn't think of a question this week, but I thought I would comment anyway, so how about a riddle? What is this? Alive without breath, as cold as death, never thirsty, ever drinking, all in mail, ever clinking. This should be easy and maybe familiar. A fish. A fish, I believe. Am I right? Tell me if I'm right. I think that's a fish. You put, how about another one? What have I got in my pocket? Just joking. Anyway, keep up the good work, and hope to have a question next week. No, thank you very much. And thanks for commenting anyway. Guys, even if you haven't got questions, just letting us know that you're in the loop. Let us know how you are, what you're doing with the hobby. We want to keep you engaged. So feel free to, if you're watching this, remember these videos get like 700 views or whatever. If you're watching this, comment. 700 comments would be pretty cool. Alright, so we've got 2 more, which means that, yeah, just going to be just over an hour, which is pretty good. Not done too bad. Okay, so we've got Sackbot10. He's put, hi guys, I'm just asking my question again for Jamie. Have you... Oh Oh my eyes. Okay, Jamie isn't here, so sorry. You'll have to ask it again. You put, have you played Shadow of Mordor? If so, firstly, do you think it fits in with the lore of Middle-earth? And secondly, do you think it would make good SBG? Thanks, guys. I'm sure he would say no and no. Okay, and finally we have Awesome Wargaming. You put, how can I contact you if I don't have Facebook? You can email us at ilovewargaming@gmail.com. That is ilovewargaming@gmail.com. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of Speak Friend and Question. I want to see all of you here again next week. And keep us up to date with what you're doing in the hobby. And get thinking what you can ask us. Remember, it doesn't have to just be about the Hobbit hobby. It could be about us. Or maybe things that we're looking to do on the channel, because we've got lots of exciting things planned for you. So as always, don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Support your Hobbit hobby. Follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And as always, team, happy strategy battle gaming.